Have you checked the children? You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
Robert Wolfman.
I mean, Fuego here.
And we are recording this review at about midnight because we had a lot to watch. We had the brand new Chucky series, and that dropped the pilot episode. We just did a review of that, and now we are here to review Halloween Kills. So yes, we're going to get into this one. Everyone's been waiting a long time for Halloween Kills, at least
Over
a year and a half or so at this point, and even though I correctly predicted the ending about a year and a half ago during a podcast, won't say what that prediction was because this is a non-spoiler review, but we are going to do this review like our normal reviews, which is the overall thoughts, then the story, the acting, the effects, all that good stuff in turn. I'll start off by saying I enjoyed Halloween 2018. I was not a fan of Halloween Kills. There was much more carnage, yes, but the movie itself was a mess, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I mean, I'll dive into it further, but that's my overall thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I went in hoping for more enjoyment, but again, we were on the same page. I preferred the 2018 version versus the sequel, and this was, I got to the point where, at least partly in the third act, I was waiting for the movie to end.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting kind of bored because it got to the point where they just kept throwing crap in there, and they should have just ended it cleanly, moved on to the next. But they just couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Some aspects were good. And I'm not gonna bullshit. Like, there were some enjoyable moments. It wasn't a total crapshoot, but the overall execution I was not impressed with. Fuego.
Yeah, this was supposed to be madness, violence, insanity, all of that awesomeness, and it did not deliver. I felt robbed in that regard, and also the script, yes, was most definitely a mess, and there was little, if any, character development, most notably with our Tommy Doyle, and they brought everybody else back, and yet it felt like pandering. You know, it felt like, oh, we're going to have these people for the sake of having them, as opposed to having anything relevant for them to do. And yes, granted, I'm not the biggest fan of this franchise, and so likely people who adore it will be a little more forgiving, but as somebody who enjoyed the 2018 film but didn't think it was great, I mean, I enjoyed the Rob Zombie films. I enjoyed H2O. This one is, for me, one of the weakest in the franchise, like, period. Didn't do anything interesting, and for that reason, yeah, I was very disappointed. Watch it on Peacock.
Yeah, that's the safer bet. I mean, everyone's going to watch it anyway, but this felt like the least Michael Myers that Michael Myers has ever been, honestly.
Word.
He was not the shape coming out of the darkness at all in this. He was just straight slasher status.
Mm-hmm.
It
he was
was
just like a tank brute.
Yeah, and I mean, look, there's going to be Halloween fans that are going to love this movie because it's more Michael Myers, but look, when you really break it down as a movie, there's a lot to have issue with, unfortunately, and we just took those issues. So the story picks up right where 2018 leaves off, when all of the Strode women are attempting to burn Michael Myers alive in the basement, but firefighters show up, and Michael is able to leverage them for an escape. Meanwhile, Anthony Michael Hall, along with the original actress to play Marion, as well as Lonnie and Lindsay from the original films, they're all hanging out together, and they basically get wind of the fact that Michael Myers is still around, and so they spearhead a movement to have the whole town try and track down and take down Michael Myers while the Strode women are recuperating at the hospital. So Michael Myers is still out and about. The town is out trying to look for him and take him out once and for all. Meanwhile, Michael's got his own agenda, and the whole thing
Does
just...
he, though? I mean, do we really understand it that well? Like,
yeah,
I don't...
it's pretty simple. That's the problem. Like, it's a very, very simple agenda that no one ever seems to remember. even though it happens in every fucking Halloween movie that comes out,
But yeah,
and
it's so
every
weird.
Halloween movie within the continuity.
It's so weird because
like, I don't get it.
Because dude, they retcon and they're like, no, he's not after this particular person, and then in this he is after that particular person.
No, he
and-
wasn't though. Well, they explain. No, they explain at the beginning why that was. It was because of Dr. Sartain.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't any other reason than that,
Is
and that's
there a
why it didn't
supernatural
continue
aspect?
in this
Is there
one. Like,
not
that's
a
the thing.
supernatural aspect. I mean, they just can't
So
make
yeah,
up their goddamn mind.
it's a little bit all over. Those of you that think that Fuego never interrupts me, motherfuckers.
I just like this is the time where I'm doing it. I'm sorry.
But nonetheless, yeah, the story just was a batshit mess, and it didn't do anything new. Or, I mean, I guess the town rallying against Michael Myers, you can say, is new, but it wasn't well done or interesting in
No,
my
it wasn't
opinion.
developed at all, man. I mean,
So
just-
anyway, my thoughts on the story were it was Bubba-kiss. Robert?
Fuck, man. Like, this movie could have been executed a lot better. And one of my biggest issues, and like I mentioned with these guys earlier, is them basically just milking it so much just to pull it out and push another one. Even this 2-hour runtime, I think, was a little long.
149.
almost.
Almost 2 hours. Whatever. It's basically still fucking 2 hours. Even cut maybe 15 minutes out of that, and you would have cut out so much needless bullshit. Especially one of my biggest issues is the last 20 minutes of the movie was it was just hot proverbial garbage of just a bunch of random shit thrown in. It's like, all right, how can we basically raise the stakes, but you're not even raising the stakes at all?
I think you're referring to the same thing I was complaining about, where
Yeah,
basically almost the entire hospital of it all
that too
ended up being a complete subplot that was almost unnecessary.
Yeah, and they had a great line in there too. It's like, you're all sheep, and it's like, really, but it was just
Bah.
so. I can't even think right now. Like, I'm tired. I'm just
Yeah, it's late,
irritated at
dude.
this.
You're fine.
No, so there were some good qualities to the story, I will say, especially with a couple of the characters. What was his name? The guy from Mad TV, something McDonald.
Oh well, we
He
had
played Big John and Little John.
They were my favorite characters.
Dude, those
in the
characters,
film,
like
honestly.
they weren't in there very.
Is that Michael McDonald?
Yes.
That's
From
oh my
Stewart.
god, that's
Yeah.
Stewart, wasn't it?
Stewart.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I forgot it was Stewart.
That was him.
He
But
reminded me of
those
that.
two
after we
characters,
got
Look what I
honestly,
can
they were some of the best characters that we had in here. They were developed. but
They were the most fleshed out of anyone in the
They
freaking
were.
movie.
I was gonna say
honestly.
them
even the
and-
Strodes.
them
Uh-huh.
and the medical couple. You know,
Mhm.
I'm a doctor.
My
and my
husband's a nurse.
Like, that was fun, man. Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that
there,
was cool.
there were a couple characters and everything that were actually written well, especially for the script. But a lot of them were, they were just thrown in there just for the sake of nostalgia. Of, hey, look at all of this kind of throwbacks that we're putting in here. It could have been done a lot better. Some of the jokes and everything that obviously you know that they were coming from McBride.
McBride,
Like,
David Gordon Green.
Yeah, some of them, like, they landed pretty well, especially with the couple of Big John and Little John. They had some of probably the funniest parts in the whole movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like, a lot of it just it fell flat and was just too jumbled into one that you didn't really know where to take it. It seemed like, and again, it was going back to, all right, let's milk this out for how much we can.
Yeah, and the biggest issue, I think, is that we knew there was going to be a third film. You know, we knew there was going to be a third film when this second one was initially announced. They're like, okay, Halloween 2018 made so much money, we're going to make 2 more. And you're just like,
Yeah,
it lessens the stakes
It
significantly.
does. It
you
really
know?
does, because
And you could kind of tell with the fact that the Strodes aren't really a major part of this movie. They're not. I mean, not until the third act is when we really kind of amp it up. But, I mean, Jamie Lee, turn around, Jamie Lee. Yeah, you're not really a big part of this movie because they're... Without
That's a
spoiling
Scream
stuff.
reference for any of you guys that don't know.
Exactly.
Fuego and his fucking
I know,
references.
you got,
constant.
you got fucking Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, ad nauseum. But yeah, man, I
Live alone,
honestly
man.
wanted more of the Strode family in this, and we don't get very much. And dare I say, I don't even feel like we got as much Michael Myers as I was expecting. You know, there was a lot of interpersonal drama at certain points, and then even this whole the town is like rallying and getting crazy because of his history with them. But I felt like that was like, underdeveloped and just like
It felt out of nowhere.
half-baked, dude.
Yeah, honestly, it felt
just,
out of nowhere.
Yeah, and there was a lot of exposition. And anytime they're trying to tell us the motivation of characters as opposed to actually seeing it, as Cecil has reminded me many times, you're like, if you have to tell somebody as opposed to them seeing it and feeling it and understanding it, that is what this film is very guilty of. So
yeah, there's a lot of things that still just don't make sense. I mean, there's a group of people telling stories about Michael Myers as if it's the Michael Myers that had 10 movies worth of kills instead of someone that did something 40 years ago that for whatever reason this town hasn't been able to let go of, because technically the people talking about it at the point in which they're talking about it in this movie don't know that anything happened in Halloween 2018.
Yeah,
so why the hell are they talking about
between.
all of this stuff like Michael Myers is this crazy slasher legend when
Iconic.
he had that series of kills years ago and that was it. Anyway, moving on from that, acting wise, it was fine. There was no standout annoyances like the peanut butter on my penis guy in the first movie, but there were certain people.
I forgot about that. But that was very funny.
The husband that Judy Greer is so broken up about in this one.
Yeah,
says, I got peanut butter on my penis.
That was very much where you were like, oh, Danny McBride.
I'm like,
and
really?
David
They're
Gordon
broken up
Green
about this guy?
did this,
So yeah, Judy Greer still kind of annoyed me. And they
she
tried.
was a little more tolerable.
I disagree. And they did a throwback that really annoyed the fuck out of me. And so there was a couple of people that for sure annoyed me in this one, and frustrated me. Like, why are we wasting time with this person? So, this was probably 75% to 25% positive to negative acting wise.
Okay. Honestly, I think one of my biggest issues, and it was really a letdown because I was expecting more, was Anthony C. Hall.
Michael Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall, whatever. Yeah, one of the Halls or whatever. Some of his lines and just
he was overdoing it, man.
Yeah,
overdoing
he
it.
was really overdoing
chewing the scenery.
Thank you. And I just could not get behind it. Almost being too serious but campy at the same time.
You can only say Michael Myers dies tonight, evil dies tonight so many times before you become a parody of yourself.
Exactly. And that was really, he was one of my bigger issues with his acting.
He kind of was the main character in this one.
He kind of was, but he was also a side character too.
Yeah.
Like he was
the main. He was the main side character in this. If you're going to be fair about it, there was no main character.
There really wasn't. No, you're right.
It was a giant.
Everyone was relegated to side stories.
Yeah,
including Michael Myers.
Well, each different group had their little stories that coincide with each other at the same time, in a sense. But
somehow Michael Myers wasn't even the only escape mental patient.
I was just about to say that. I'm just like, and then all of a sudden they throw in there was another.
That was a half an hour you could have just snipped right out of the movie.
That's
100%.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, yeah. So story or acting wise, we weren't overly impressed.
No, we've touched all the different paces and stuff. I guess in the little bit that the grandchild gets to shine in the third act, I thought she was
bad.
She was all right, but.
I'm not that impressed.
No,
I thought no standout performance from anybody.
I enjoyed them better in 2018 than I did in this one.
I enjoyed everybody better in 2018.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Moving into the cinematography and the making of the film, because this has to be mentioned. The cinematography was okay, but where the film really becomes a fucking mess was in the editing room.
Yes.
The editing was so messy and choppy. You lose track of what's going on so many different times. The spatial awareness is all over the place in certain scenes, especially in the big pivotal final scene.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
crap.
And it was meant to be this big swell of a thing, and I was like, dude, this is such like B-level territory. Like I was thoroughly disappointed, and so the way the movie was actually presented wasn't even that amazing. I feel like it was done way better in 2018. It was still a Halloween movie.
There were a couple nice.
There was one moment of tension in this entire film. One.
What?
Where?
when someone's hiding
Both of us.
hiding from him, trying to get away.
Oh,
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was
One
after
moment.
the park.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, I
literally.
remember, yep.
But you knew exactly the moment I was talking
I
about.
did.
Because
I did,
other than that,
yeah.
there was
Yeah.
nothing, honey.
Yeah. Well, and this is where I'm wondering, dude,
Mm-hmm.
like, if they use the same DP. Because
I don't know. I didn't pay
because
enough
there
attention.
was not a scene like in the 2018 film, that tracking scene.
Nope,
that,
nope.
There was
That
nothing,
one tracking shot,
There was
nothing.
nothing iconic like that in this movie.
Nope.
And so it felt
You're right.
very pedestrian in that regard. And yeah, from a visual standpoint, it just didn't wow me like a couple points in the 2018 film did.
And they're like making flubs and stuff. Like, I was counting bodies, and there were like 5 at the beginning, maybe 7 max, and then like someone comes up and says, "We found 11 bodies." I was like, "What? We missed 4? Like, what, did you cut 4 out, or are we just padding numbers here?" Like, so anyway.
And I thought the firefighter
Minor
scene
gripe.
was shot like kind of cool, where you had
There's a lot
the
of
shot
POV
from like
stuff.
from inside
Yeah,
their
a lot
masks
of
and
POV.
stuff like
Yeah,
that. And
and
I thought that
like,
was kind of cool. But
Yeah, that much I actually really didn't mind for that scene, especially to getting from their perspective of their death
yeah.
kind of thing.
But that's kind of the showcase Michael Myers scene, isn't it?
That's really
And it was in the
that-
trailer.
That was the best scene.
Yeah.
That was the
They
best
showed-
kill scene, personally. Well, there was
Yeah.
honestly there was the older couple just after the house.
But that was
But there's
also but that was
and
also in
everything.
the trailer too, where you break the light bulb and the
I suppose,
stabbing.
yeah,
okay.
it was.
That was in the
was it?
trailer.
But I
Yeah.
suppose there's one other bigger mayhem scene that, again, is so choppily presented.
Yeah.
Oh, at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
That was-
even that's hard to follow.
It was extremely hard to follow because there were a lot of just up,
The camera
up
angles didn't
close,
make sense,
up
yeah.
close shots and everything, or you get like a hand or some
There was
bullshit.
no, you know what there wasn't? There wasn't an establishing wide to let us know where everyone was in relation to each other, and so they're just like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
Yeah.
whoosh.
Yeah.
Ah, wasn't that cool? And it's like, bitch, no, I couldn't follow that. No, that wasn't
And
cool.
even the final blow
Mhm.
and everything,
Mhm.
that was just you get basically a fish out of water like face look, and then it's just
Yeah.
It was
Anyway,
almost like a shaky handheld kind of bit when they showed that finally. Like,
now
I
the
don't know.
one place they
something like
didn't
that.
skimp was the gore.
I will agree
At the
with
very
that.
least, there
Yeah.
was a lot of
Yeah.
gore.
The gore and some of the kills were fun.
Mhm.
I definitely enjoyed some, especially
There were definitely a lot of people that went
eyeballs.
ooh and stuff like that at
Uh-huh.
times. Yeah.
the stab through
throat-
the armpit.
The throat and the
Yeah.
eyeball bit was definitely
Uh-huh.
well. That's kind of spoiler. I won't
Kind of.
say that. But
We're not going to say who.
there's a bit of gore that goes further than this particular bit of gore that's been done hundreds of times. It goes farther than those other movies
Yeah.
have portrayed it in the past. I will say.
Yeah, and I did like the half-burnt mask look. I thought that was
That did
pretty
look
cool.
good.
I did
Yeah.
Although
too.
from
Yeah,
the back,
that
it made
appealed
the
to me.
hair look ridiculous.
It did.
It
Especially
made it
when you
look
realize
almost.
the
It made it,
hair
yeah,
is
it made it
part
look
of the
almost
mask.
like almost faux cornrow.
But you got to think though, it's
like rubber
burnt.
cornrows.
It's burnt, you know. And
I know,
everything.
but it didn't look good from the back.
No,
It didn't look good from the back at all.
Because at that point, they should have just like made it to where it was like completely singed down, and then maybe I don't know. Well, even with some of that, you got to keep at least some of the hair.
See,
He'd
I thought it
be
was-
looking like Gary Oldman in Fifth Element.
Yeah. And if you want explanation as to any of the Michael Myers eccentricities, don't hold your breath. Because
You're not gonna
they're
get
not
any
a
sort of
coming.
clarification.
They're
Like,
not a coming.
Really, like the gore for what we got was probably the most enjoyable part.
100%.
But we had one main.
I got the biggest reaction out of
Kill-
all of us, I think, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, and especially the firefighter scene. Like, honestly, I dug some of those kills in there, especially with the saw.
Oh, the
It kind of,
Which they were hinting at when you saw
Oh,
it in
obviously,
frame. You were just like,
obviously.
of course it's going to come into play.
but I was kind of hoping for a different thing with that kill versus what we
Yeah.
got.
Mhm.
Like,
Something a little more ghastly.
yeah, because if he would have used that for a minute on a couple different people, that would have been brutal as fuck.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
But
we got what we got.
Yeah.
So
oh,
Yeah.
we got
And-
something.
and I mean, lastly, as far as like music and score and
I
stuff
feel
like
like
that
the score
goes,
was much less interesting than 2018.
that
I
was the point
have
that
the
I was gonna make,
2018.
man.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're
I
fine.
felt we were going to be in agreement
I
on
cut
it.
you off countless times.
No, I
today.
felt we were going to be in agreement on it because I bought the vinyl for 2018, and as I was listening to this one, I was like,
Not
I ain't
memorable.
touching the vinyl for this with a
Not
10-foot
memorable.
pole.
Yeah,
Don't
and
care.
Yeah, and it was John and his son once again working on it together, And there was a third person involved whose name is inconsequential, obviously, but
Damn.
it's
He's probably
just like...
He's sitting there listening going, fuck you.
Hey, sorry, man. You didn't do anything that stuck in my ears and was memorable. Sorry. I mean, and I'm
snap.
often not that, like, you know,
Direct.
just direct in your face, but... Dude, there were so many sequences in that
Jaime's getting
2018. Dude, no, but there were so many sequences in that 2018 film where I heard the callback, and yet it was new and it felt fresh and it was different. The score was just nothing that is sticking in my head after watching this one, unfortunately. So it's just kind of a disappointment in that regard. So.
Yep.
So yeah, guys,
Pretty
I mean,
fucking much.
that's the long and short of our thoughts on Halloween Kills. Unfortunately, look, we were fans of 2018. I had high hopes for this because I'd heard, you know, it was going to be Carnage Candy, and that's up my alley. But I guess I'm getting to the point where you can't just slash a bunch of people and expect me to enjoy it when there's a big mess of a movie, right smack dab in the middle of it, taking up a bunch of time.
I think where this would have worked out better is it's basically, like, yeah, still picking up with where 2018 left, but using this more of Michael's being like, fuck this, I'm pissed, you're all gonna die, and just go through the town basically.
Well, that's what we all thought was gonna happen.
On a legit like rampage, and then you have the town rally together, and then they go after him. That would have worked out a lot better than basically he's on a pathway to the same place. It was garbage.
Could have been better.
Well, that's going to do it, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are on Halloween Kills in the comments down below. I'm sure you probably liked it more than us. We're definitely, I'm guessing, going to be in the minority on this one. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. If you guys are watching all the way to this point and you enjoyed the video, please click the like button. We greatly appreciate it. It can help the video get into the YouTube algorithm and get seen by more people. Now, stay tuned. We are going to be putting up our review of the first episode of the Chucky series in the very near future. So that we had a much more positive reaction to. So if you want to see us happy, watch our reaction to that. But yes, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Thank you so much to all of our patrons for supporting the channel. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to Frost Communications for hooking us up with this screening.
Yes.
There was a weird snafu with a link that was supposed to be sent to us, and it got delayed for 2 days. So luckily they were able to squeeze us in to a physical screening the same night. So thank you very much to them for hooking us up. And until next time, you guys, I've been Cecil Laird.
Robert Wolfman.
And gracias, Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.